Greetings everyone! So I've been reviewing and ranking animated content for a while, but I haven't really sat down and talked about random stuff that's on my mind. So this year I want to try something a little different. I'll still make reviews and ranking videos, definitely, but I also want to make video essays, videos that will spark some discussion hopefully, and just serve as an excuse to let my mind ramble. And for my first video in this format, I kinda want to start this series of discussions with an entry about the nature of discussion and criticism itself. Keep in mind, I kinda want to keep this short since I'm only making this video for the record. I think we can all agree that whenever anything becomes a thing, it's completely fair to discuss the work in question and everything it has to offer. I mean, that is the whole point of fandoms, just a mass amount of people discussing their love and appreciation for said work. But I also think that discussion concerning the flaws and negatives of said work is equally as important. Remember when we all flipped out over YouTube removing the dislike button? For those wondering why that became a big deal, without dislikes, people weren't going to know which videos were good or not, whether or not they were clickbait, poorly made, or just straight up problematic. In the same vein as if we were to remove negative film criticism, nobody would know which movies are good and which aren't. Like, do you really want to live in a world where all you could see are 5-star reviews for Norm of the North and Alpha and Omega? Films that I guarantee changed nobody's lives for the better and arguably made worse changes. And honestly, that's the real reason discussions like these are important. Film, art, music, literature, animation, all of these mediums are forms of expression. Any piece of artwork ever made is not only integral to culture, but is a reflection of said culture. These stories and expressions affect our mindsets and say something about our lives. That being said, it's necessary for these works to be criticized, analyzed, and thought about so that they truly affect our way of thinking. And it's also necessary because people who don't have the drive to analyze and think about art, since they probably have a billion other things to worry about, may appreciate it if they're directed to works that will be worth their time. Like, do you really want someone you know to watch the iconic Spookly the Square Pumpkin with a somewhat problematic message, when you could recommend they watch the soul-lifting experience that is Wolfwalkers on Apple TV+? Totally worth it, by the way. However, as much as I say that criticism is needed, that's only considering good criticism, because most of the time you get critiques that are poorly constructed. The real fight whenever people say how useless film criticism is not in any way about the nature of criticism, than it is about actual critics. Like, I get it, guys, you think you're so cool as judge, jury, and executioner up on your high horse or your untouchable golden throne, axing anything you deem unworthy or garbage or subpar, practically disguising your opinions as analyses and facts by pretending you're some professional celebrity. It's part of the reason why I prefer to watch reviewers who are very aware that their opinions are opinions at the end of the day. And not only that, they also add some humor and editing flair to their reviews. The same can actually be said for toxic fans, though it is glaringly obvious that those kinds of people are just really opinionated and have unfair and unrealistic judgments, and honestly, nobody takes them seriously. It really disheartens me to see some people on the internet being nitpicky towards great works to the point where it's bordering on being vitriolic, because I think people vastly underestimate just how much work and love is put into said work, and I include myself in that. And it's just that a lot of the time when you come across these types of nasty reviews, there are glaring signs that said reviewer is relying too heavily on nitpicks and personal irritants, ergo nearly disregarding any discussion on production value, character arcs, writing, and soundtrack. It's stuff like this that I just can't stand. But then again, it's the internet, you're bound to come across lazy criticism in pretty much anything. But even then, it still saddens me because, as I said, these creations are representative of our time. They represent our creative potential and how boundless our imagination is. So it's important to know that while there is definitely shallow work practically giving art a bad name, shallow criticism is also just as bad because it heavily undervalues these works and is practically an insult to their creators. Really, this is just a message to certain voices on the internet to make better arguments for why you like or dislike something. And yes, that includes me. Like, I cringe whenever I'm reminded of my earlier reviews. So, I hope that you enjoyed this very random video, and I hope you'll enjoy any future random rambling videos I'll make in the future. Tell me your own opinions on negatively discussing various media. Do you think negative criticism is a necessity? And do you think some people are being too harsh on some works? Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell. Thank you for watching, and catch you next time.